2025. 2026, pardon me. Good morning to everyone. I believe you all can hear me. Good morning, Abidemi, John Oluseyi, Archibong, Aneka Michael, Benedicta, Lawrence, Olumide, Madam Monaji, Sami, Ugochukwu, Vasu Shubandi, and every other person. Welcome on board. Um, Amaidara, Archibong, kindly mute your device. It's causing some distraction. All right, so let's get started. So, in the course of the night, there are some fundamental activities that took place. Morning, Madam Onaji. Morning, Patricia Bandi and Benedict Gold. Morning to you all. So we had a lot of events from Australia and New Zealand between 1:30 and 2 a.m., which led to volatility especially across the NZD pairs. The AUD news wasn't much volatile, but the NZD, we had official cash rates, RBNZ monetary policy statement, RBNZ rate statement, and RBNZ press conference. We saw a lot of volatility on the NZD pairs. Now, today, for this morning session, the important event is going to be the CPI from the United Kingdom, and I'll show you the instruments I'm looking at for this particular news release. And later today, we have core durable good orders and durable good orders by 2:30 p.m. The afternoon session analysis will take care of that. And later tonight, there'll be FOMC meeting minutes. Now, it's not the main FOMC, event, but then some slight volatility could be expected. And later tonight, the RBNZ Governor Brainham Breman rather will give a speech. All right, so these are the fundamental events we have today. So I'll just show you my outlook ahead of the CPI from United Kingdom by 8 a.m. Then from there, I will look at other technical setup which I'm seeing in the market for today. All right, I'm flipping over now to the chart. Now, the market right from the beginning of the week has been in a kind of a quiet state. We've not had some solid volatility like that on many instruments. Well, this week is like that. That's why in the forex market, results may vary based on market conditions. When there's volatility, you see a lot of movement, and when the market is slow, we just have to learn to trade with a lot of caution during that period. But then I'm seeing some setup forming on the JPY pairs, and I'll be focusing on the GBP JPY and the Euro JPY for this. All right, so I'm going to look at the GBP JPY, that's the British pound and the Japanese yen. All right, so this is the GBP JPY. Now, if you look at this instrument from the weekly time frame, we can clearly see that there was last week closed as a bearish engulfing, candlestick pattern. We saw clearly a bearish engulfing candlestick pattern. Technically, that is supposed to lead to a further bearish breakout on the GBP JPY for this week. Yeah, that's the weekly time frame. So we can go to the daily. Now, there's the daily time frame. But then right on that weekly also, we can clearly see that there was a previous resistance which might be acting as a support. Now, if it's acting as a support, then we may have the possibility of some bullish movement, but then I'll still give my clear outlook on all that. Now, we see price also in an uptrend. All right, so if price is able to drop to touch this trend line, yes, we'll have a lot more clarity, for a bullish movement on the GBP JPY. So we'll go down to the 4-hour. Now, the overall sentiment on the British pound using sentiment analysis, like an indicator like the P prime market heat map is actually showing a very weak GBP JPY. In fact, there's general weakness across the JPY pairs. So I want to hold on to that sentiment also. So if the news this morning from the CPI from the United Kingdom, if it comes out to be bad for the British pound, then we will see a slight move, downwards, possibly to touch this trend line and reverse, or we may experience a breakout from there. because the overall sentiment now it means that for this instrument, we're looking at the three forms of analysis. We're looking at the technical, the fundamental, and the sentiment. Now, technically, we could still have a move downwards to touch this trend line, and possibly a reversal or a breakout will happen. Fundamentally, we're expecting the data by 8 a.m., which is CPI, and in sentiment, it is generally weak. So you can see now currently the technical and the sentiment seems to align slightly. So the data we're waiting for is a fundamental by 8 o'clock. Now, if the data comes out bad for the British pound, then we're going to see some slight bearish movement on this instrument. And that slight bearish movement could give as much as on the minimum close like 100 pips. So if that happens, price is expected to drop and you may look at selling the GBP JPY. So I'm bearish on the GBP JPY ahead of the news by 8 a.m. The CPI from the United Kingdom by 8 a.m. this morning. Now I'm also looking at the Euro JPY just like I mentioned earlier. Now for the Euro JPY, we have the same outlook as what we saw on the GBP JPY. We can see price closing as a bearish engulfing candlestick pattern for last week. Trend line broken on the weekly time frame. So technically, long term, we should be looking at a bearish movement on the Euro JPY. That's still on the weekly time frame. On the daily time frame, we can see that price has been ranging in the last couple of days. We've seen a range, doing some zigzag movements in between this box. Now, since price has clearly broken out below the trend line, it means we are already moving into the bearish, region. But then it's possible for price to still break out to retest this trend line over there like a resistance before dropping, or we see an outright breakout to the downside. So the bigger move is actually to the downside. If price breaks out below this lower support zone, then we will see a massive bearish breakout. Otherwise, if it breaks out to the upside, it's going to be a short-term bullish movement before price reverses eventually to the downside. So on the long term, we are bearish. On the short term, we're bullish on the Euro JPY. So we need to watch out carefully and see the outcome before picking trades. This is the 4-hour version of this. So what I'm looking out for is a breakout below the support zone. So I hold a bearish outlook on the Euro JPY just like I hold on the GBP JPY. And finally, I'm looking at the US oil. Now, it's been a very long time I've done analysis on this instrument. And it's got right from the beginning of the year, we've not had a clear setup. But then I'm seeing something really clear. But then it's a swing setup. It's swing. Now, on the US oil, I'm seeing here an overall downtrend, downtrend, price making a series of lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. And here we have a confluence, a resistance, and the trend line. So technically, we should be looking at a further bearish breakout on the US oil. And let's check out the daily. We have a rising wedge pattern on the daily. Then on the 4-hour, price has clearly broken out, but then it's still trading around a support zone. So if in the course of today, price is able to break out below this lower trend, lower support zone, then we'll see a further bearish breakout on the US oil. That's the USO USD. So I'm very, very bearish on the US oil. Now let's look at the potential peak movement we could get from this setup. If price breaks out below that support zone, that's below Fibonacci 38.2, we can get as much as about 110 pips of Fibonacci 50, about 242 pips of Fibonacci 1.8, and as much as about 439 pips of Fibonacci 78.6. So we have a massive movement ahead on the US oil. We only need to wait for a clear breakout to trigger this trade. All right, that'll be all from my end this morning. If you have a question, like I said, for those who are just joining us, market has been very slow lately. We don't have sufficient volatility, and at such instance, we'll try to trade with a lot of caution, until volatility returns to the market. So if you have any question, you can go ahead and drop it, and I'm right here. I will respond to you. Gold, GBP all right.
Please, can you check the GJ on 15 minutes or 30 minutes time frame?
All right. Just a second. All right, so this is the GBP JPY. So in response to the person that is asking me to check for on 15 minutes, that's 1 hour time frame. Oh, sorry, this is 4 hour rather. All right, on the 4 hour, we have a rejection candle from now we have a support tone resistance. Technically, that is still giving us, a bearish outlook. So if you take it down to 15 minutes, not okay. So for clarity, let me remove all the big support zone so that since we are looking at 15 minutes, so that it doesn't cause any distraction. All right. So this is the 15 minutes version to this. You can see price approaching the RSI it's below 50, but then we need price to break out. I told you overall I have a bearish sentiment. So you want to see price break out below this, trend line with RSI clearly more below 50, maybe around 45. And from there you can trigger a sell on the GBP JPY. But be careful, there's news by 8 o'clock. So it will be better you can trade it with the news. If the data comes out bad for the British pound, yes, that will see the price drop faster. So and this is 7:24. That's just roughly some 35 minutes. So you don't want to jump into this until the data is released. So if the data is released, fine, trigger a sell if the outcome is in line with our expectation. If the data comes out good, please stay out of it. But if it comes out bad, yes, that's what we're looking out for. And I think I saw some information overnight on the United Kingdom about employment, having bad employment data recently. So let's see how CPI will also, come out. If it comes out bad, then definitely we're going to see a sharp breakout. And the potential movement on this could be, at least if you were to trade this, these are the potential profit levels you can target, this minor support and this other recent low. These are areas where price may likely target. And here could give as much as like 25 pips and the other one could give us at least on roughly like 50 pips. So you may just target on 25, 50 pip movements on the GBP JPY. So we're still bearish, very, very bearish on the GBP JPY. All right, somebody asked me to check gold and GBP CHF. Then I thought I saw AED JPY also. So let's start with gold. You're welcome, Benedicta Gold. I hope you trade gold. All right, so this is gold on the 4 hour time frame. So price, you can see price has been in a range on gold. Price hit resistance, dropped, hit support, possibly trying to make its way, back to that resistance, all on the 4 hour time frame. Now this is 1 hour time frame, and I'm seeing price hitting a previous minor resistance here. Now, this depends on the market volatility. If there's no sufficient volatility, we may just experience some reverse right here because we have a previous support resistance here. We're having a confluence at this point where trend line and support on resistance meet. So we'll be looking at the potential reversal on gold. Let's go down to 15 minutes time frame. Okay, I'm not seeing it except if gold is trying to give us a double top pattern, which would lead price downwards. Let's still go down to, no, I rarely go this low, but okay, this is 5 minutes time frame, and on 5 minutes is trying to give a head and shoulder. So if price is able to break out below this level, you may look at taking a sell on gold. It's giving on sorry, it's clearly forming a head and shoulder pattern. We only need price to drop. This is a shoulder, a head, a second shoulder, then we expect a breakout. So if this works out just as I've drawn it here, you may look at taking the sell once price breaks out below that rectangle box I drew. That's below this price level at probably like 4923.47. If price is able to break out below it, you may take a sell. And potential profit level could be Fibonacci 30, 23.6, and that could give as much as like around 40 pips. And Fibonacci 38.2 can give like about 165 pips. Those are the two levels I believe you should target. You don't need to be greedy on this one. Most importantly, the first level, which is just around 40 pips. So we're bearish on gold, except there's a change in market structure. This is my view for now. I'm bearish on gold. All right, next I'll check is the GBP CHF. Now for GBP CHF, price currently is trading around a support zone on the daily time frame. So technically, we'll be looking at a reversal. We'll be looking at price reversing at least to hit this trend line. You know, we have some lower high, this lower high, and maybe move downward. But at least for now, our concern is price targeting that trend line. So we can go to a lower time frame. Let's check 4 hour first. Nothing much on 4 hour except, okay, I can draw a trend line and we have a falling wedge. Let's check out 1 hour. All right, so the setup is still valid on 1 hour also. So in the course of the day, we'll be watching out for a breakout of GBP-CHF. Now, our confirmation will be RSI clearly above 50 and MACD above 0. Those are two confirmations after the breakout. So let's watch out for that. We should be expecting a breakout on the GBP-CHF. We're bullish on the GBP-CHF on the 1 hour time frame. So it's intraday, it's not swing. All right, so I've attended to gold and GBP-CHF, and okay, I'm seeing Euro USD, AUD JPY, AUD CAD. Let me quickly attend to the AUD JPY and the AUD CAD, then we'll come back to the Euro USD. For AUD CAD, if you join my weekly analysis, I said I'm bearish and I still maintain my bearish outlook on this particular instrument. And this is my view. From the monthly time frame, we can see we have an overall downtrend. And on the weekly, at the point of contact here, there is equally a resistance at this extreme. So that gives us a confluence with trend line and resistance meeting, which is giving us a downtrend, you know, on this instrument. If you take it down to the daily, we have a rising wedge 4 hour. We're expecting a breakout. So I still maintain my bearish outlook on the AUD card, and it's equally giving us a head and shoulder. So we're still waiting. Swing trading is a game of patience, but the pips that will be generated could be massive. So swing traders understand this. So we have a minor support there to break, not necessarily the neckline. This is actually the neckline. Okay, maybe we should just make it the neckline. All right. So if price is able to break out below the neckline region, and please confirm RSI below 50, MACD below zero. Important on this one. Yes, you can see I started mentioning MACD because it gives us more clarity. It reduces noise. Yes, we get triggered in a little later, but then it gives peace of mind. So RSI below 50, MACD below zero, price breaks out below this lower trend line, you can trigger a sell on the AUD card. And in terms of potential pip movement, we could have price move to the tune of 124 pips on Fibonacci 38.2, as much as about 195 pips to Fibonacci 50, and as much as 262 pips to Fibonacci 61.8. So it's a swing setup. We're expecting some big move on the AUD card. And for the AUD JPY, like I said, generally the JPY pairs, they are bearish in terms of sentiment. All of them are bearish, and this AUD card, sorry, AUD JPY is not an exception. I'm trying to scroll to it now. All right, so on the weekly time frame, we can see the market closed with a reversal pattern, bullish and bearish candlesticks, almost same size, uh, right there. On the daily, nothing much on the daily except you have a rising wedge. And on 4 hour, on 4 hour, price has broken out below the rising wedge pattern. So we have a minor support here, and we'll be anticipating the breakout to the downside. So I'm bearish. So both AED CAD and AED JPY, they are bearish on the 4 hour time frame. Amai Dara Achibon, pardon me if I didn't pronounce your name well. Please, your settings for MACD and RSI, default setting. Don't change anything. Just leave it as default for both RSI and MACD. All right, so finally now I'll look at the Euro USD. Now we don't be talking about the major pairs lately because dollar index is just in a kind of a range. But then recently, the last couple of 4 hour candles, you can see some rejection candle over there, and that is giving us some bearish sentiment. So let's look at it closely and see if there's anything we can get from this. Nothing. Okay. And let's go to the daily. Okay, I'm not getting the kind of pattern I would have loved to, but notwithstanding, we have a very sharp doji there yesterday. I think that should be a gravestone doji. Technically, we should be looking for a reversal downwards. So if you're looking for a reversal downwards on the dollar index, then that could mean we may have a bullish outlook on the Euro USD. Now you can see that Euro USD also closed with the opposite of that type of candlestick. So technically, we should be looking for an upward movement on the Euro USD today. I'm not seeing any trend line to support. Notwithstanding, if I had to go by the candlestick pattern alone, just a second. All right, so we have a resistance turn support with the tip of the candle. So we should be looking for a bullish movement on the Euro USD. So let's flip it to 1 hour time frame. All right, we have a falling wedge pattern and an inverse head and shoulder, which would trigger to the upside. So we just need to have our neckline right here. So in the course of today, if price is able to break out above that neckline, we'll see a bullish movement on the Euro USD. And if that happens, just like we've analyzed, we'll be looking at as much as 25 pips to Fibonacci 61.8 and as much as like 40 pips or 44 pips to Fibonacci 78.6. So we're bearish, sorry, we're bullish, pardon me. We're bullish on the Euro USD on 1 hour. We can see a falling wedge and an inverse head and shoulder pattern. We're very, very bullish on the Euro USD. All right, you're welcome. Billions Unlimited. Ugochukwu, are you using TradingView or another software? I'm using purely MetaTrader. MetaTrader from PU Prime. Nothing exceptional. MetaTrader alone is good. You know, it's not, you don't need to use something complicated. Just be able to interpret the chart. If you want to learn how to interpret the chart, just come to our training. If you're based in Abuja or Lagos, you're welcome to our physical training sessions on Tuesdays and Thursdays, where we break down Forex for you and we teach you how to analyze the market, how to read patterns that can point you to the future direction of price. And if you're on the platform this morning, you've not attended PU Prime training, I tell you, you are missing a lot. How do I get MetaTrader? Just subscribe to PU Prime. Okay, I believe you might be new. You can just reach out privately to me. I'll guide you on how to get started. That's for Gochuku. Just reach out to me on my official PU Prime number, which is 070 25263604. WhatsApp, please. All right. So it's not good. You can reach out to me there. I'll guide you on how to get started. Don't worry, I just posted it. Just look on the comment above your last comment. You see my phone number there, my WhatsApp number precisely. All right. Muidin Shorunke, pardon me if I didn't get that correctly. GBP USD. All right, that'll be the last one I'll do. Then we'll end the analysis. Some of us are far from Lagos and Abuja. Okay, if you're far from Lagos and Abuja, then you can connect to our online training, which we do on Mondays and Wednesdays. Like today, we're going to be having an online class. We'll drop the link. Just make sure you join. You know, that's how far we can go for those who are outside Lagos and Abuja.
Sorry, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
The analysis you made on gold,
Yes.
I don't know. It's like, are we now bearish? Are we bearish in gold today or bullish? Because you say in a lower time frame, like
I said we're bearish on gold. We're bearish on gold.
yes.
That's my analysis on gold. This is it. I just
Okay, we are bearish for the
yes.
whole of today. Okay. Thank you, sir.
It may not be for the whole of today. This is a 5 minutes time frame. It may just be a drop, and anything can happen afterwards. Just
Yeah,
look at the
okay.
screen.
That's what I'm asking. Okay,
It's
sir.
a head and shoulder pattern that is forming, and we are only expecting the breakout. If the price breaks out, the first profit level could be as much as about 40 pips thereabout, and the
Okay.
second one could be as much as close to like 100 pips. But the first one is it should be your main target. If you can hit 40 pips, that should be good.
Yes, it's okay.
All right, man. Oguchuku, my name is Rotimi. Aziz Shibane, can you just do a video on how to interpret? Ah, no. That's why you need to attend our classes, either uh, online or physical. Don't worry, the online class to cover some of those things. You know, you look at things like candlestick patterns, chart patterns, support and resistance, you know, characteristics of price. All this combined together can help you interpret the chart. Like today now, we should be having a candlestick practical session today. Don't miss it. The time is 4 p.m. 4 p.m. Just make sure you join us. Record of this. Yes, this session is recorded and I'll post the link to your group so you can watch it again. All right, so I'll look at the JP USD from Muidin and we'll end this session. Okay, so we looked at Euro USD and starting from dollar index, we are bearish on the dollar index. So that gave us a bullish outlook on the Euro USD, and we may have similar outlook on the GBP USD. But the difference with the GBP USD is that there's a news coming up at 8 o'clock. So I want to be careful on what I say about GBP USD specifically because of the news. For the GBP JPY will hold a bearish outlook, but GBP USD is the news. It's after the news we can go back to technical. So I don't want to say anything on the GBP USD for now because of the news coming up by 8, and that's just roughly some 17 minutes from now. All right, I'll post the link as soon as possible. Okay. I find it difficult to join 4 p.m. Zoom meeting. When I try to join, it will ask me to register. No, you don't need to register for a 4 p.m. Zoom. It's special events like NFP that, yeah, you might have to register. But then if it asks you to register, once you register, it will take you to the link through which you will join the session. So it shouldn't be something difficult. Besides, your phone or device could already have your details, which you just automatically click and it takes you in.
Yeah, sorry. Good morning,
Yes, sir.
Rotimi.
Morning, sir.
Yeah, so please, I want you to help us. Give us a favor by when that DJ breaks out from that level after the news, so that you can just give us an alert on the 5X.
Well, you know why that may be impossible. I may be on my way to work at that time. So, because this analysis session, I run it from home and I have to go to work once I'm done. So, I may not be online too when it happens. And that's why we're giving the analysis so that you have an idea of what is expected to happen.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we need to end the session now so that I can post the link and you get, yeah. Hello, someone is saying something. All right, in the absence of that, we'll come to the end of this analysis. Trade safe, enjoy the day. Bye-bye.